Hey guys, this is Sean from Defend Your Movie. Just a quick little message. Don't forget, sign up for our Patreon if you can. It's patreon.com/defendyourmovie. You have different choices, 5, 10, and 25 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content. We have some shirts we can send you if you give you our address. And for $500, if you like, you come see a movie with us. That's patreon.com/defendyourmovie. Please sign up. And thanks so much. And here's the episode with the hilarious Shane Torres.
In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie, your favorite podcast. I am your host, Sean Donnelly, here with my co-host, who now her new thing is to do like sound effects while I'm introing her. And she just...
Yeah, I kind of regret bringing that to the table.
Why,
here.
did you feel obligated now?
It just kind of happened. Now I realize it sucks. I'm very sorry to everybody. I like to start every podcast episode off with a deep, sincere apology. I'm so sorry.
You're a weirdo. That is my co-host, Farrah Brooke. Hello, Farrah. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Sean.
And we are joined by a very special guest, my buddy, my pal, hilarious comedian. Just did his half hour, just did Conan. Such a great dude. You've been in New York how long? You've been in New York?
It'll be 3 years next month.
3 years next month. That's amazing. Give it up for 3 years, really?
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm on the road for like
A lot.
Yeah, so
Shane Torres.
hey, here I am.
Getting a little diversity in the podcast. We try to make
half
it
of a
diversity.
half of a diversity.
Hey, that's diverse enough. I'm all Irish. See, that's not diverse at all.
I'm very diverse.
Are your folks from Ireland?
No. My great grandparents are.
Oh, okay.
My folks are from my grandparents, and my parents are from. My dad's from Brooklyn. My mom's from Jersey.
Okay, yeah, my mom's from Ireland.
This podcast
Is she really?
is the height of
I
diversity.
didn't know that. Where is she from in Ireland?
She's from Carkinlish, which is like I believe it's in Limerick County, which is next to Cork, which is the one everybody knows for some reason.
Yeah. If you ask most Irish people, they'll be like, "Where's your family from?" They'll be like, "Cork."
Yeah, that's
Just
what they say.
it.
They just say it, and you're like, no, just like, yeah.
My mom's family's from Cork, and then I don't know where exactly. And then my dad, his family's from Tyrone, which is in the north.
Okay.
And I went to Northern Ireland once as like a trip. Because me and Saint Germain were in a Bushmills whiskey ad. Did you ever hear about that?
Shocker.
Yeah. I've mentioned it
I
before the
didn't
podcast.
know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, we'll post it on the page for the podcast.
Couldn't get Jameson.
It was me, Kevin McCaffrey. Do you know Kevin? You know Kevin, right? I don't know if you know Kevin.
I do know him, but not like I know who he is, and I've met him.
I thought I talked about this on the podcast. It was me, Kevin McCaffrey, this guy Colin Dempsey, who's from Ireland and he doesn't do comedy anymore. He's from Dublin, and then Saint Germain, and we were in a print ad for Bushmills. And part of the PR was for 3 days we went to Northern Ireland, and I found out like my dad's family is from Tyrone, and apparently if you go to Tyrone, it's spelled like Tyrone, but it's called Tyrone out there, I guess. And if you go there, from what I've heard...
Tyrone.
If you go there, every business is like Donnelly, woodworking, Donnelly
Oh, yeah,
butcher,
they're very
Donnelly,
like, yeah. They're a lot. It is like,
We
yeah.
should go to
very
Ireland,
inbred.
Shawnee.
Let's go to Ireland. I'll go.
It is the like Smith of Irish last names. It's way up there. Yeah.
Well, in that area, apparently. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where all the Donnellys are from. But that's the other thing. I met a girl once in Arizona after a show that did like genetic like mapping. And one of her areas she did it for was Ireland. And I'm like, it's really inbred, right? And she's like, oh yeah. I'm like, it's an island.
Yeah,
So
it's real. Yeah, there's like somebody on like as Johnny Knoxville was on like WTF, and he talked about getting his genetics mapped
Makeup,
done,
yeah.
and he was like, he's from like this shitty little town in like Tennessee, right? And he's just like, the thing with these mountain towns is like most people don't leave them, and nobody ever moves to them. And he goes, are you telling me there's like inbreeding in my family? And the doctor was just like, a significant amount.
I'm a product of incest.
Wait, what? Wait, what happened?
Look, we have diversity on this podcast. I'm a witch to start.
What?
Second of all,
Wait,
I'm
what
a
is
product
happening?
of incest.
What do you mean by that? Explain. Can you
My
explain it?
great-
Hold on, really quickly. Farrah, we have to check. Do you want to talk about this?
Yes.
Okay. Your mom's not going to get upset.
No.
Okay, go for it.
Your mom listen to podcasts?
No, she doesn't.
You never know.
You never
You
know.
just tell her
though.
about
You
all the things you might have said.
never know.
Yeah.
So what happened?
My great-great-grandparents were first cousins.
Oh, that's not incest though. That's legal. Oh no,
What?
first cousins.
First cousins is legit incest.
No, that's like your dad's brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, like,
Okay,
like
that's
Like,
not-
I have some physical deformities, and I'm pretty sure it's because of that, and definitely a lot of the mental issues in my family.
I can see that, but also
My grandpa was like very
you know
not disturbed.
you're not that
but-
far off though, because you know second cousins can marry. So it's not. That's the cutoff. First cousins.
Yeah, but a first cousin is very different from a second cousin.
No, you're right. But I'm just saying.
no, it's not. It's pretty fucking gross.
They're all gross. But I'm
Damn,
just
I
saying.
gotta break up with my boyfriend.
Go after your cousin.
We
Matt.
grew up together, same mom, so much in common.
We're all cousins.
Well, that's crazy. And what do you mean you're a witch? Who was a witch? Oh, you mean like a Salem witch trial witch from back in the day?
I was just trying to be funny.
Oh,
I'm sorry again.
Yeah, the witch
Yet
things
again.
are weird.
please
yeah.
stop being so apologetic this podcast.
Yeah,
What
it's-
happened to you? Is everything okay?
Well, it's fine.
Are you bummed out that Shane picked this horrible movie to defend for the podcast?
I love it.
Well, I watched the trailer, and I'm very, very sexually attracted to what's his name,
Bradley Cooper?
Super Coops.
Cooper.
Well, then let's say what it is.
Although it opened with the Weinstein Company.
Well, that's what I want to talk about.
It's like, all right.
Just saying.
Here's the thing,
It
let's
kind
have
of
that
turned me off to
conversation.
start, but
Hold-
Bradley Cooper. Oh my! I just know we would get along.
I
That's
think you would
that's
too.
something
He's actually a
creepy
product
people
of
say.
incest as well. Here's the thing. I want to say what movie it is. The movie you decided to defend, which actually I think is a really fun one to do, is Burnt with Bradley Cooper,
Yes.
where he plays like a hot shot rock and roll chef,
Yeah, like a drug addict shit.
like a drug addict chef. Now, here's the thing.
So is this Limitless, but for food?
Kind of, in a way. A little bit, in a way, it is. And I'll
All his
explain.
movies do kind of feel
I did love
like
Limitless.
the trajectory. If you,
Limitless is fun. It has the same vibe like we just
that's
spoke
what I'm saying.
about.
The pulse is
Has
the
a
same.
TNT,
Yeah.
like on a Saturday vibe, like you were talking about. You
Yeah,
said
it's like,
that.
yeah, bored. I'm kind of dicking around in my hotel room on the road, and you're like, TBS is on. It's like, it's going to be Goodfellas at some point.
Yes.
And then you're going to get one of these things you can kind of watch,
And then at night, right before the shows, you'll get Shark Tank for like an episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
my favorite.
depending on what time zone you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Let's talk about that. Real quick before we talk about the actual movie. All the Harvey Weinstein stuff is going on right now. The New York Times broke a story that Harvey Weinstein has been known for sexual misconduct for years, and it's this open secret that's been going around Hollywood that he has just straight up been sexually assaulting women and just been really aggressive. And he was known for his temper for a long time. I didn't know about the sexual stuff, but I heard about his temper a long time ago. In fact, they base a character in Entourage off him when they go
Really?
to Sundance, and this guy, I think they call
Yeah,
him
I
Harvey.
remember
They call him
that.
Harvey. Yeah, they call him Harvey. Yeah, Harvey. They call him Harvey.
Oh, he
in
also
the
is a
thing.
big dude, looks like him. Yeah, yeah.
It's Josh Mostel. I think it's Zero Mostel's son or some grandson. Whatever.
yeah, I remember that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great, but it's 100% supposed to be Weinstein. So my curiosity is this: like, it's falling apart. They fired him. I think what it seemed like
his
to me.
brother's on the board and they fired him. That's
His
like,
brother's on the board, Bob Weinstein, and I actually worked. I should talk about this too. This is actually a perfect
Brother
time
on
to
the
talk
board,
about.
this type of firing, quote unquote, it's like your own brother calling you and be like, dude, obviously we
well,
have
look,
to do
clearly
this.
he's gonna be
like,
fine. He's worth hundreds of
but
millions.
You're like, dude, we got to do this. You want to save the company.
But the
Everyone's going to
theory-
be fine.
Yeah, but the theory is that he was thinking that he wouldn't get fired. That if he did his penance and he apologized, he was like, maybe.
yeah,
I get,
but then they're
I
like,
take a leave of
look,
absence.
you will be fired. And he's like, okay, I'm still a millionaire.
yeah. I mean, he's fine, but he doesn't.
But for guys like that, this is huge. The ego that's involved. This is completely humiliating. So to get fired from your own company,
Yeah,
is a
it fucking
complete-
rocks.
That's like when you get fired from a job when you're like 20 and you're like devastated because you're like, oh my god, you're just angry. That's like that times like
I got
1,000.
fired this summer. I was fucking devastated.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
this is
it
like a
sucks.
fire in quotes in my
I don't know.
I
think they're gonna not. They're gonna stick them to it.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Well, there's also like, there is the threat, like, that he is. It's a social thing, so he's like a pariah. Like, if they keep him under wraps, or or they use him,
nobody will work with that company.
Yeah, like they're like he.
Right, but that's why I felt like it was just a civil meeting between brothers where they're like, we have to fire you, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't just like, Mom is so disappointed or whatever.
I don't think it was like, you're fired, get the fuck out. It was like, dude, obviously we have to do
but
this.
I mean, like,
but I think he's cutting ties with the company.
Yeah, they're cutting with him, yeah.
PR-wise, actors...
His damage is done. Like, I mean,
it's probably in his interest that the company continues to do well, though, and I doubt he's completely cut
he still owns stock in the company.
Of course,
right.
I'm not.
That's all I'm
disputing.
saying.
What I'm saying is like the lavishness of being like, if you want to have dinner with Harvey Weinstein, that's an important.
Hell fucking
that shit
yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah, and whether it actually happens is one. I mean,
it's crazy though. You'd
I
be
hope
surprised.
it does.
You'd be surprised though. Like guys like that can still go
Mel
out
Gibson,
with women and do very well.
Yeah, Mel Gibson, for Christ's sake.
back.
Yeah,
it'll be a scratch on his back. Like
I mean, in time, people forget things. Like that's.
Yeah, and these powerful men have a lot of power over women and can get women to go out with them. I mean, we'll see OJ next week dating fucking whoever. It's
the OJ thing. Even when he was out, he's done with.
We'll see.
He bottomed out.
See. But anyway,
that's not you bounce back. Also, OJ is black. I'm not kidding. That's 100% true.
It is 100% true that OJ is black.
It is.
Yeah, no, he is 100% true he's black.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he's not going to bounce back. You're white, you can bounce back. That's just the way. I'm not saying that's
fair.
I'm saying that's the way it is.
But there's a status of forgiveness. Yeah.
I mean, he has bounced back in a way. He's out of jail.
No, because when he wasn't in jail for that
living
robbery,
a luxurious
I mean,
life.
that's not a bounce back. That's he served his time. I'm not saying his debt is actually paid, but like he didn't bounce back. Like people get out of jail for stealing things, which is what he went to jail.
But when
he
went,
he didn't murder. Let's not get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole big mess.
But
here's the thing. My thing is, I worked for Miramax for like 3 months. I did this weird like special project for them. They found out they had a whole warehouse of boxes they forgot were there. Whoever their archival person was just throwing boxes into this warehouse and not cataloging them. So when that person left, they realized they had this whole big warehouse. So the job I had when I was like 21 was to go. They grabbed all the boxes, brought them to a facility in Jersey. And we would go through the box by box and just transfer the contents and put it on a new pallet in a brand new box that wasn't like water damaged, and then put it on a pallet, and that when it was filled, that was go. It was the most fun job I ever had.
And then
in my
you
life.
jerk off onto them.
And then I would jerk onto a potted plant. Yeah, actually that was in one of the boxes, the plant that he jerked off into. And
evidence.
Tiny.
You were tampering with evidence.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if because that's one of the things they said, to give context to what Farrah just said, like one of the attacks he did was he stopped a woman at a restaurant. And he approached her, and he tried to sexually molest her. She rebuffed his attack, and he kept her there, apparently, and jerked off really quickly into a potted plant. And that was one of the instances, which is fucking insane. Wouldn't it be crazy if it turned into like a Little Shop of Horrors plant, but it's Harvey? Like Harvey Weinstein, like an Audrey
That's
too.
so gnarly to think of. There's a whole thing with
I really hope my mom's not
seeds.
listening to this.
like that semen from that potted plant, like it's just Audrey too.
Feed me,
yeah, but
seal.
he's like green light this. Like, it's just,
You want to be a star, don't you?
I want a table at the Ivy. It's just. It's just.
What do you mean they want more money? Bring me the same thing, but only different.
Little shop of sexual horrors. That's So, but I worked there for like a couple months, whatever it was. My question to you is, and then we'll start talking about the movie. Now, does it, like Farrah was saying, is the whole thing tainted? Even with his friendly firing, he's gone out of the company. Does the company go back to business as usual? Do actors work with them, or are they put on like almost like a freeze for like a year where nobody wants to touch the company?
This is like an interesting thing with these like peripheral people who are peripheral to like assault
Show
cases
business.
or any crime. Like say I did something, like you and I are good friends, and I did something, and they're like, well, Shane's a fucking creeper.
Yeah.
And Sean ran around with him. He must be like, there's like a weird thing, like it taints, it does damage to everyone, like the victims form, like clearly, but like even the people next to you. like can take a tag from it.
everybody
It's like,
gets hit.
and I don't know.
Because I think the assumption is you knew.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you do? It's like, well, what you do is you fucking fix your company and you start like really putting in sexual assault education.
And it's just it's.
And you make that
I'm
public.
sure they'll be fine, but it was the type of thing where I watched this trailer for Burnt today. And I just kind of gagged a little when the Weinstein company, like, went before.
You know what, though?
It's in your head.
I think it's also.
I don't think, though, it will have long-term damage to the company.
It's horrible what this guy did, but it was.
Burnt is going to do more damage to
But it's horrible what this guy did, but you know what? It was known for years. I hate this outrage, these people outraged now.
I think it's great, though. I think it's good to be outraged and to shame him publicly, because then it stops other people from doing it.
Also, you will not, Hollywood, it's so funny when these stories come out and people are like, can you believe it? Yeah, I can. You know why? One is because people are fucking scumbags and life isn't fair. That was a lesson I learned a long time ago.
And people care
Life
more
isn't
about,
fair.
yeah.
Also, who thought Hollywood was this? What do you think? It was Toontown? Like,
No,
do you know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure. But
this is what's happening all over.
There are
But someone
people
with such a vast level of allegations against him and the things people are coming out to say.
You're right.
There's no reason to not shame him, fire him, like do these rightful things to put out the message to any other men out there who are maybe coming up in entertainment
Good
or this
point.
and that,
It shows,
that
yeah.
you might be outed and you will be punished. And it's important.
Can I ask?
I agree, though. Like, sure, this is not the first or last scumbag in the entertainment industry, any men or people, but it's still, like, not something I think we should roll our eyes at when people are coming forward with some really...
No, I'm not saying roll your eyes, but what I'm saying is I wasn't like...
Like, it's business, though. It's business. Like, entertainment is business just like anything else. If this was an office for... I don't know, whatever, a bank, something, and a boss was having that behavior, you would also want him to be punished and held accountable.
Of course, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we know there's, a lot of scumbags and this and that in entertainment. Of course, yeah, we know. But that doesn't mean we should just, I don't care about this.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And what were you going to ask? You're going to ask Farrah something?
Well, like, I mean, this isn't a problem I have, but I guess it is a problem I have, is that rehabilitation is never, like, focused, or you never hear about it publicly. Like, I'm not saying he should be punished, but you also need to fix him, because it could still happen to somebody. Like, just because he doesn't have a job
Well, I
where he's
think
powerful doesn't mean
waving the flag is hoping to prevent it from happening again.
Oh, for sure.
Well, he has
but
to-
like
well,
you
he's
still
also
need to
going to
fix
therapy.
him. You know what I
For
mean?
sure,
Like,
and
like
many
he can still
people.
there's still plenty of people who don't know who he is.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, I like that's the
For
part of
sure.
it that I never see.
And it's hard because
nobody
it's not
talks
like
about,
he
you know,
can be arrested.
Yeah,
So
like that's what I'm
it's-
saying.
right.
Like, yeah, it's like there's like, what do you do? You know, like I know how you put it into a company. You like start with training, and there's some, you know, like, but as a person, if he's there festering alone for a year, and he's just like, well, these what you know,
I
like
think it's going to be like a therapy thing.
Yeah, like, I was
and
like-
then he'll be in hiding for like a
yeah,
while.
I mean, like you need to like that's a thing. I'm not saying people don't need to be punished, but they need to be fixed too. Like, you know, like that's the same
For
thing with the
sure.
prisons. Yeah,
I think that's
I don't know
why-
how you do it, but like it's a thing people I think focus on more. It's like, and you know, like there's like Michael, what's his Vic. Now, like PETA's, like he should own dogs now. Like he's like a healthy perspective of animals now. Like they
Yeah,
should,
right,
You know,
right,
and how to
right.
treat. Yeah. So like rehabilitation is a valuable thing that we never
talk about.
Yeah, we should get
We
to
just
it. I mean,
villainize-
maybe they do, and it's just never in the news.
We
cycle,
villainize.
'cause
They
that doesn't-
don't put it back in the news cycle.
Yeah,
It's not fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Right, and
Like,
we'll
oh.
see if it does happen.
Well,
If
there's-
it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
I mean, for all he can just go live in his mansion now,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
quiet. It might
yeah.
not. He might not.
and he can
rehab.
like hire women.
Yeah.
to, come
People don't want a
shit on him or
resolution. They
whatever.
just want to be like, look how sensational this is. Look what's happening now.
Yeah.
Look how crazy
And that's
this
the
is.
thing, though. Just one, I don't want to harp on this so much, but you just saying he can hire women, that is part of what even bugs me in this situation, because it's so clearly he has the money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not about that, and it's not even about sex. It's almost a form of violence.
Oh, it is.
So it's just
What do you mean?
because it's not about sex. It's not about jerking off into a potted plant or this or that. It's about that's harassment. That's not a sexual thing. Same
Oh, I
as
think
rape.
it's both. I think it's getting what you.
But it's
getting
like
what
a
you want
rapist.
I think it's getting what you want all the time, and it's power. I think it's power and it's abuse and it's
Right.
straight up violence. It's
Yeah.
sexual violence.
Exactly. That's what I'm
But I
saying.
think what's motivating him is like, I get what I want, and I have a hard on now. I have to release this hard on, and you're going to be the vessel I do this through.
That's a
I don't
pretty
care
good
if it's
Weinstein.
Yeah, I don't care if it's a potted plant.
But you're right, because I was I'm like, what? If it was a sexual thing, he could just pay for it and get whatever he wants and do whatever he wants. But it's not about that. It's about power.
Power. All those guys, that's what it is. And apparently that's been that guy's MO from the beginning. And to be honest, the reason why it becomes such an issue is because there's a weird fence here. What he did, he's a monster for doing what he did. But guess what? That same part of his brain is the reason that he's the head, that he headed up Merrimack's. Yes, absolutely.
There's so
Okay.
many other
What do you think, nice
successful
guys?
people that head studios.
No, I'm not saying
that
it
are
doesn't
not
happen. Nope,
abusers.
Nope, I don't think so. I think you have to have a thing to get to that point, at least a little bit. And if you don't, it's because you had somebody with you that was doing the hard parts, the firings, the being shitty to people, the being acting above people. And even if you're nice, I bet you even the people at the top, which
but, like,
all the nice people in Hollywood that are at the top.
But I know
there
so
are.
many of those men that are fine, that are just as successful, just as big. I don't think it takes
Like who?
that.
I'm not trying.
Judd Apatow comes to mind. Like
He's had growth though. Like if you look at Knocked Up or 40-Year-Old Virgin, those are not.
But
like,
he doesn't have any reputation as an abuser.
No, and he doesn't.
That's all
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying. Like, I'm not saying his work is perfect or this or that, but I'm saying you can get to a very high place of power without that part of your brain, quote
No,
unquote.
I didn't say it was a necessity, but I'm saying that's probably what got him there.
All right.
He's not.
Yeah.
I know tons of well-known. Like the more famous a comic is, usually the nicer they are because they have nothing to prove. But I think when it comes to stuff but you still have to have this thing in you that has I want to get ahead. And even if you're doing it the nice way, but you're pissing people off in your wake. And I'm not saying I know Judd Apatow a little bit from the Comedy Cellar. He's a sweetheart of a guy, but I guarantee you he probably had situations where he had to do something upsetting that
but that's different than
Yeah, and I would-
abusing and
Absolutely.
harassing.
Yeah, no,
women.
and I'm
That's
saying that.
all
I'm
I
not
mean.
saying I'm saying.
Like, for sure, you have
any of
to
these
be
people- you
like
get
a
to the top.
narcissist
There are
psycho to
people
get
that-
to that level.
No, you
There-
don't have to
No,
be. But I'm
most
saying
times,
it
though, I get what you're
helped him
saying.
A lot of
do
those
it.
people will stab you in the back and tell you to hold the knife in place.
Right.
Yeah, they are cutthroat people, even though they're
For
good
sure.
people.
I
They make
just
rash,
don't,
hard decisions.
I don't necessarily
I don't know,
correlate
judge that
cutthroat
person.
with harassing.
I
I see where you're
I think
drawing
that-
a connection,
in
but I don't think
Harvey Weinstein that might be the case.
Yes, and-
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On his case, I'm not saying you have to have it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the fact. I think it comes from the same. What are the things called? The synapse. I think that, or the part of his brain. I think they're from the same thing. It's
I
that
think
alpha
so.
male.
I
That
think-
behavior
but
might
I
be-
even
Alpha
think of
male
like Whitney Houston, all
mindset.
these things. People come to mind where I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know the science, but when you have it all, it fucks with your brain in some way.
Sure.
Where there's it. I don't know
ego.
what it does,
It's your id,
but
it's
like
your ego.
Yeah. Speaking of people who sexually harass and assault, Mike Tyson talked about this in one of these documentaries he was in. Who for some reason now is just fine with everyone in Hollywood. But he talked about and this is true, and I'm not saying he's not responsible, but if you are the person, everybody's like, you can kick anybody's ass on the entire planet, and you're 24 years old and you have millions of dollars.
Goes straight to your
he
head.
literally goes, why wouldn't that fuck with your brain?
Of
You know,
course.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
and
think
that's the same
these
thing, yeah.
men get
Yeah.
to a freak. I don't know exactly what happens, but not just men. Women, when it comes to drugs
I
or this,
think
whatever
it's-
way it manifests, where
I
it's
think if you were to personality poll, or give a personality test to most CEOs and most people in charge and most people that boom, boom, boom climb the ladders, you would find very similar traits in there. They would be different versions.
yeah,
of the
and
same
that's
type
why
of
I
personality.
think a situation like this is good. Because it shines a light on it and says to some people, you maybe
Watch your step.
rethink that.
Yeah.
Because it
All right.
could come out and it could hurt your
Yeah.
business.
We're talking about this too long. Let's get into the movie, please.
Burnt Baby.
Burnt Baby. Speaking of synapse, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
No, that was a great transition. Sean.
Well,
We're cooking up a mess.
That's good. There we go.
Yeah, fucking zoo cruise
You
shit.
are here to defend. What? I have the IMDb up. What year did this
Oh
come out?
yeah, I love to pull up
Last year or the year
stats.
before? Yeah, I'll pull up.
It came out 2015.
Yep.
Now,
Box office hit.
now what was the other one?
What? Really?
No, it wasn't.
200
Was it?
million.
No,
No,
it was not. No, I think it bombed.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
29% Rotten Tomatoes,
29% Rotten Tomatoes,
37%
which-
I wanted,
Metacritic.
by the way, I wanted to do
6.6
Highlander, but I had no
out of 10.
idea so many people like that.
People love it.
Yeah.
People
Wait,
love
it did box office $36.6 million.
How
That's
much
not-
did it cost?
It cost probably even Bradley Cooper alone.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be a $50 million movie, right?
I don't have that information here. It's a 2015 drama comedy, 1 hour, 41 minutes of Bradley Cooper.
Super Cooper.
Super Cooper cooking.
Super
Imagine that
Cooper.
piece of meat in your kitchen. And I saw in the trailer he's a 2-star Michelin chef.
Well, that's what it is.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Chefs are known for being
This-
scumbags too.
Yeah. Well,
well,
restaurants.
You know what?
are-
It's really
Re-
men.
Speaking of
honestly, when it
incest-
comes down to
no.
it.
No, I'm not going to take all that.
sorry.
Restaurants are the most incestuous place I've ever been.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's its own
and comedy too.
It's its
Yeah.
own dramatic.
Any world, you know, people get to fucking.
So Shane, please, Farrah has not seen it as usual. Please do me a favor and explain to her and our listeners the plot to Burnt with Bradley Super Cooper.
Okay. Long story short, successful chef. It opens with him exiled, more or less. Could you use that word? By a self-exile in New Orleans. He's shucking 1 million oysters, and he's sober now. And that's the opening of the film.
Okay.
It's very zen.
Yeah. And then
But they establish he's sober now? Like he had a problem before?
Through voiceover.
Yeah, 'cause
he
he-
talks about
yeah,
his
yeah.
past.
Yeah.
And it's while he's shucking oysters in this random spot. You don't know what the story is, but then he explains.
Okay.
like, yeah.
I was top of the world.
I was
you know.
big chef. I worked in this famous kitchen. I have got my stars. But I also drank, fucking smoke, whatever I could kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a drug addict.
Addiction.
Alcoholic,
Yeah. Does that. And so he shucks these 1 million oysters as like a self-penance. And then he goes, right? I mean,
Yeah,
And then he
absolutely.
goes to London. And,
He goes to London, yeah.
and he's like, I'm going to get back to the top.
He basically goes back to where it all went wrong.
Yeah, and harasses various people from his past into giving him opportunity.
Yes.
Food critics, people who own hotels, former colleagues and chefs. His Salieri to his Mozart, essentially,
Okay.
is a person in the film. And then young, inspired, new, talented chefs he recruits to work in this kitchen. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he finds this guy from it's very it's
And the
very
goal is for
trendy.
him to get a Michelin star, like his 3rd Michelin star.
Basically, what it is there is this guy, his friend Tony, and he runs this restaurant. And he comes back and tells him, I want to take over the restaurant. And the guy's like, absolutely not. And it's actually not even the guy Tony. The guy Tony is the son of the guy who owns the restaurant. So he comes back. He goes, I want to take this over. And he goes, everybody hates you here. Why would you do
Yeah,
that?
and why would I give you that? So he forces his hand by
Yeah.
having a critic from the Times come to the restaurant.
Yeah. So he has
A book, and he's like,
who's
you
Uma
gotta,
Thurman.
yeah.
Who, you don't see Uma Thurman anymore.
Well, what happened to Uma?
Well, I guess she just got, it's really, she got older. Like, that's, I hate to
She's
say
always
it.
picked weird shit though,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, she's shown- she's
I
been
like
I
great.
think,
for
I think she has a
that.
bunch of kids. I think she did the mother thing for a while.
and she also has like some iconic roles, but she's been in some dog shit films. Paycheck.
I think I've
Come
said
on.
this on the podcast before. I like to think of some actors, who maybe were super successful that you don't see all the time. They're just like living a happy life by a pool,
I think that's where she's
family,
at. Yeah.
enjoying themselves. Maybe they'll come back and
Shows up to the
do something if it's
Oscars,
interesting to them.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
So
maybe
she
that's
was-
where
she
Uma
was
is.
huge.
Call us, Uma.
She was huge in the 90s and early 2000s, It's like when you make that, that's what I would do. Like,
Kill Bill.
Yeah, if I
Because
had a
it's
bunch
like
of
you
money.
do great movies like that.
yeah. And
Why-
she's awesome. She was great and a ton of stuff.
And
So
there's
she-
also the age-old thing of
Of
Women
aging
aging
out,
out,
Hollywood.
which is
God.
terrible, but it happens.
Yeah. So she shows up like unannounced, and his friend, the maitre d', is like,
Freaking out.
yeah, like, oh my god. And he's like, she's gonna close your restaurant if you don't let me cook for you right now.
Yeah, he's just there in the kitchen already. That was another weird scene.
Yeah, he just shows in and walks, and they're like, okay, and he cooks, makes food, and they're like, all right. and now like I'm going to start this restaurant again. And he kind of forces this guy into bankrolling him in his new concept.
Puts him up in the play, and there's a hotel attached. Puts him up in the hotel.
But
Does he have like some bad reputation from before that no one wants to work with him?
Yeah,
because he was such a drug addict.
There was one guy, his friend Michelle was a sous chef, and he left him, and he on drugs. He called the health inspector and then released a bunch of rats in this guy Michelle's kitchen, and the guy got shut down, and it was like a big thing. So he sees Michelle on the street, and then Michelle runs after him, and he thinks he wants to fight him, so he tackles him. He goes, no, we're good. I had a couple years to think about it. We're totally fine. And he goes, I know I did something terrible. What'd I do? Like, he was so fucked up on drugs, he didn't know.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like this weird, like, he just basically had one big blackout for a couple of years where he was just a complete asshole. And he's still an asshole, but he's like a sober asshole now that,
I love when Bradley's bad.
When people are pricks. Before they were drug addicts, and you're like, oh, you were just this way. So he gets that. They start moving the restaurant in the right direction. More and more people want to come.
They renovate it. Yeah.
Gets a sous chef from another restaurant, female sous chef, love interest.
Selena, what's her name?
The short-haired blonde I saw in the trailer.
Yeah, and she's really good. She's actually really good in it. And then like he's got a debt with drug dealers from his past.
Sienna Miller.
Yeah. That is kind of like looming in the background, but they don't.
Yeah, he owes these drug dealers a bunch of money. Just kind of your run-of-the-mill like backstory. He owes all this money, but he keeps randomly these two guys will just show up, and the first couple times I think they shake him, just not shake him down, but like warn him.
Yeah, they don't rough him up. Really.
They rough him up yet. Yeah,
and then he eventually the Michelin men come.
Well, the big turning point. So what happens is
when he bottoms out.
There's like little tiny peaks in this movie where like the first night his new restaurant opens, he thinks he's on point because he's real arrogant. He's using his old ways that were everybody's like, this isn't Paris 5 years ago. You're out of date. And he's like, nah. He's using frying pans, stylistically with cooking. So he does it, and they have a bunch of no-shows to the restaurant. So he freaks out, and like to the point where he freaks out on all the people who work for him. To the point where Selena Miller, what's her name?
Sienna Miller.
Sienna Miller. He flips out on her so much that I'm like, if I was her, I would never come back for the rest of the movie. Like that's he begs her to work for him.
Wouldn't come back for the fiction.
Yeah, wouldn't come back for the fiction. Yeah. He begs her to work for him, and then she works, and then she does what she's supposed to do, and he's like, "You're a virus. You're an infection in my kitchen. Get the fuck out!" Like freaking out, like really freaking out.
And by the way, I've seen chefs talk to people like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but
I do like cooking stuff and the food. That's one part that sounds fun about the movie. Like, do they show pretty images of food?
They do.
Yes, they do.
That's fun.
It's really beautifully shot. Like the dishes are. You're like, wow, I don't even know what that is. They all look like cockatoos. They all look like all food
vibrant in color. It's like shit. We're not eating.
We'll never try.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, for time's sake, he begs her to work for him, gets her fired from her other job, so that I forget how he does it, but gets her fired so that she can work for him. She shows up, and he's like, I'll triple your salary. You're wasting your talents there. She walks in. That's the night that it doesn't go that well for the first night. So by the end of that night, he's already calling her like he was like 10 seconds for calling her the C word. Like he was like, that's how hardcore it was. Like it was so hardcore.
It's a little over the top.
It was really over the top. Like I'm like, how do you bounce back from that? Because you just make yourself an irredeemable character. Because you wonder, it's like, what's these people's minds?
But the way they handle
back?
that in the film is they send the maitre d', the guy who owns bankrolls the restaurant, to like talk to her, and she's like, he's like, she's my restaurant, or my salary's already been doubled. He's like, well, then it's doubled and tripled. He just like throws money at, and then like creatively she brings in like a sous vide, which is like a cooking instrument. Yeah, and he's like this guy's I know what a sous vide is. For fuck's sake. And it's just like, what is this crazy fucking thing?
She's like the new guard of like,
And so the restaurant starts to hit a stride, right? And then they bring up, the Michelin star people. And
what do you think? Because there's all these different factors. The Michelin star, like they'll place a fork on the floor.
They have tails, is what they do a little like small montage of like showing what a Michelin man or woman would come in and do.
Because the Michelin's like the highest rated. It's like
I don't know
Frommer's, but like way higher rated. Or it's the Gap, but like on steroids. Like it's insane.
It's like because yeah, like your crystal has to be at a certain kind of quality and all this kind of shit. For
Yeah, it's like
real
insane.
Michelin restaurants.
So literally, these people come one night, and it's actually right before this, he gets roughed up by the drug guy. So he's like, they're nursing his wounds. And then out of nowhere, somebody's like, hey, or these two guys
came in and they recite the tales they already told you.
Yeah. And they're like, and then he's like, all right, we going. And they're on point. Boom, boom, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, by the way, he's seeing his strength the whole time and getting drug tested. That's part
It
of
was
it.
Emma Thompson.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson, right?
Yeah, I
Emma
think so.
Thompson,
A
who
lot
is
of hot blondes in this
She's
movie.
fantastic.
she's fantastic, but now what she's becoming in movies, she's the Alfred of this movie.
She is a little. She does show
Michael
up
Caine.
and present a little bit of wisdom here and there.
Yeah, she's just the female Michael Caine for all these movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been kind of helping him along and drug testing him the whole time. Like the conditions of him getting the money to bankroll the restaurant is that he has to stay clean.
Yeah.
So the guy's family makes sure of it. They're like, we're not giving this money if you're on drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so back to the Michelin men showing up.
Right. So they think So what happens is the Michelin men show up. And then everybody's on point, and they're like, okay. And Michelle,
The sous chef with the rats.
the sous chef with the
Okay.
rats, the guy, he's been working there the whole
Looking
time.
at the cast.
Yeah, he's working the whole time. So literally, he goes. They're like, okay, did you get the what is it, like the gel or something? And he's like, yeah, I made sure it was good myself, the mousse or something like that.
He's like, I checked it myself, chef.
I took the myself, chef. And then they go in and they come. The guy, they send.
There's
the
about
food
20
back.
seconds of a reprieve of like, okay, it's out now. It's not up to us.
Yeah. And then they come back. They send it back. It's too spicy, too much pepper. And then
And it shows his palm of his hand is like smeared with cayenne.
Yeah.
And he's just like, for Paris.
So
and then like
that was his
Oh,
revenge
my.
for the rats thing, which actually was a pretty. I knew that would come back
Yeah,
at some
that's
point.
cool.
Yeah.
And then he bottoms out, like he relapses,
Yeah.
gets all
Oh,
fucked
really?
up. Yeah, and shows up
Really?
at his rival's restaurant,
Oh.
all fucked up on drugs.
my.
Yeah. And then
And-
the rival.
Is this like a dark movie?
It's like as dark as like the.
It's as
one of
dark
those-
as these movies are
Like
going to
Cotton
get.
Candy dark?
Yeah. And then so he shows up, all fucked up, and his rival, but like friend, like at one point you knew they were friends, but they're like topping one, like
Trying to top
where
each
competition becomes unhealthy.
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, where they like
and then
frenemies, basically.
Yeah, and the next morning he like wakes up in his frenemy's kitchen, like being cut, and he's like got a like apron for a pillow underneath his head, and like he like wakes up and he's just like, what happened last night? Blah blah blah, and they like talk, and they have like he reconciles with his frenemy about his like, he's like, I need you, like I need you to be better than the rest of it.
Like you're my marker. Like you're basically I get myself better.
Yeah, but like, it's like
be like
you
you.
have to. You're the person who forges forward for us.
Okay.
Okay. And then they call. He goes back to his restaurant. They're like, "This is what happened," and they find out. Am I allowed to reveal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That it was not the Michelin men. It was two other people,
two random people or something.
Yeah, and it just had some similar tales. And then they're like, "Oh shit!" So like he has some kind of like, "Oh, the world didn't end," even though I thought it was ending. Is like a big thing for him.
Yeah.
Like perfection is a big thing for him in the film.
That's almost like a theme of the movie, that he's trying to achieve perfection the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like he decided his life's goal was him becoming a 3-star Michelin chef was going to make him complete, and then so that's what his after he does his penance with the shucking the oysters, he comes back and that becomes his main goal. So it's almost like he's doing it at any cost in a very arrogant
It's
way.
his new addiction.
It's his new, it's his vice. That becomes his vice, like just being obsessed. So there's a lot of shots of like
Wait, obsessed with what?
of becoming a 3-star chef.
that's what I thought.
So there's a lot of shots of him late at night with his sous chef, who's Serena Miller.
Are they in love? What's the deal here?
They end up
There's tension.
there's like what you knew was going to happen. I almost would have.
But they're like falling in love over pursuing food, like this kind
They're
of.
the same type of personality. They're both perfectionists. They both they're real striving to be the best or whatever. And that's,
And she's got a cute daughter.
She has a really cute daughter. At one point, she asks if she can have a Thursday off so she can have a birthday party for her daughter. And he says no. He's like, that's the part with being indispensable. He's like, I need you.
The part with being
all
good
day.
is that you become indispensable.
Right.
Yeah.
So then what happens is behind his back, the restaurant. This is like a random scene in the movie where like they figured like, oh well, Tony, the guy who owns the restaurant, was like, well, just bring her here and I'll watch her while you're working outside. I'll watch her during service. And then Bradley Cooper finds out, and because Tony's like, make a cake for this girl.
This is his boss.
Yeah.
And nobody. That's like the only time in the movie where you see somebody.
Like,
Well, that's one of
stand
the
up
only
to
time.
him.
Yeah, like and be like, make a fucking cake. Yeah,
Yeah.
like essentially is what he says. He's like, I own this place. Make a fucking cake. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a cute scene where he comes out with the kid, and the kid tastes the cake, and she's like, "I've had better cake. I've had better." And he's like, "Really?" So then, like, that's supposed to be like a soft moment of him because a lot of the movie
Humanity
is
is in
a giant prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole point of the movie is him trying to achieve this thing, and at the end, what happens is he realizes,
The world will not end.
yeah.
Yeah.
He realizes, I'll get disappointed, and I survived, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Now, overall, like we were talking about earlier, it's like this happens a lot with movies. It's technically a bad movie, but I got to be honest. I watched it for the first time this morning. I got 29% of Rotten Tomatoes. Nobody like talked about this movie when it came out.
No.
I actually know, someone told me this was a good movie in the past.
Who told
Probably
you
me.
that?
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Yeah, a comic.
Yeah.
No, nobody.
An old friend told me that they liked this movie.
Was it Alex Brazell of Showbiz Studio? No, what it is.
It was Harvey Weinstein.
It's a good movie. Check it out.
Then he jerks off into
Get
the
me a
can.
potted plant.
I gotta come on a ficus.
I'm gonna come on a cutting board in honor of this movie. Give me a spatula. I'll come right with a spatula. But no, so just Harvey, he just comes on everything.
Every movie, what
Yeah.
it's about, he's just like, give me a lightsaber. I need to jerk off on a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's Pulp Fiction. He's like, give me Samuel Jackson's wig. I'll jerk off on that. Give me
That's like
he just gets something from it. Give me a Shakespeare outfit.
yeah,
Shakespeare in
what
love.
they didn't tell you is like when he came in that potted plant, it was right after The Happening came out.
Which is like, God, that's the holy grail
That
of
is
this
the
podcast.
dog shit film.
Oh, it is. What a work of art that movie is. How
We've
bad.
done it, right?
No,
I've
we
never
we
seen
talked.
it.
Anthony.
Should we do a final
Anthony
season?
defended Unbreakable, but a lot of people like Unbreakable.
Yeah.
But Anthony defended Unbreakable as the best M. Night Shyamalan movie, and I talked about
Right,
The
we
Happening
talked about
because
The
I don't think there'll
Happening.
be anybody who will ever defend that movie. You can't defend it.
Not even
Maybe
Mark
I'll
Wahlberg.
see it and
Not
like
even Mark
it.
Wahlberg. Watch it. You should watch it. So anyway, with Burnt, this is the thing that the trap it falls into. Technically, it's one of these things where, like early on when he gets to London, there's a couple of shots of him in a Burger King, and they have a whole scene where he talks to Sienna Miller about he's like, why do you think you're better than this food? This is peasant food made by peasants. What do you think French cooking? Like they do this whole lesson scene in a Burger King.
Yeah.
And I'm watching
That
this
she
going,
already knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this going, no, this is an advertisement for Burger King. So it's weird. It's like, you're watching.
I mean, I know it was, but I didn't think about that till
Oh,
just
yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what they do. But like, that's their goal. It's not like
It's ham-fisted in there.
it's ham-fisted. It's like, oh, you're trying to pretend it's this movie about like your culinary art, but also you're still shilling for this.
They don't
for Burger
do
King.
a great job of shedding the light of like what makes good food good in a lot about. That's like the biggest problem. That
Yeah.
like
Well, the
I mean,
other
I think a
movie-
lot of people know that like poor cooking techniques are now used in the most lavish restaurants, like
Yeah.
slow cooking and these kind of like
Yeah.
things that like were like essentially used to soften up bad cuts of meat when people were like fighting over neck bones essentially.
Right.
Like are now like methods people use.
Is that
everywhere.
what it is? They use these shitty methods in all these restaurants.
Well, I wouldn't say they're shitty. I would say like a lot of like slow cooking and stuff makes meat more tender. Lower temp, like
Longer.
longer.
Yeah.
There's like something poor people would do to take bad cuts of meat.
And make them
More
cook
edible.
them better.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I think you know
But
that
they-
already.
You know it already, but they didn't. And also, they also assume. This is another problem I have with this movie. That they assume you know a lot. Like some of the lines of dialogue I couldn't even hear. Like those guys, their accents. Some like they had English accents.
Because
I'm
it's
like,
an
I'm not even
international
following.
kitchen. Because there's there's English people, French people,
And they're using like
Irish,
I think purposely using like pretty involved
Kitchen jargon.
Kitchen jargon with like within the culture of like, oh, that's, you know, like saying stuff that you're like, oh, I need a shorthand to know what like a couple of lines, not the whole movie.
Yeah, but like
you get it, but being like, oh,
they'll be like, I gave you this this mandolin to cut the pommes 1/4 of an inch thick, and you need to know that. You know,
Yeah.
It's like, but it's like stuff like that, and also like trends in cooking. Like when Tony's talking to him about something with trends, or she's saying it's not Paris 5 years ago. Like you're not doing, you know, whatever. So. Like, you kind of need that. It was just kind of annoying. I'll tell you, the same kind of... What was the movie with Jon Favreau when he cooks? When he gets
Chef.
a food truck? Chef. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Chef. That movie is another movie where it's like, yeah, this is technically a bad movie, but I like how they did it better.
It's cute and palatable.
Yeah, but I'm like, but the cooking-wise, maybe because it was more like relatable food. This was so fancy shishi food.
Yeah.
He was really making like po' boys.
Yeah, it's just definitely like, that movie takes place in a food truck with like a Puerto Rican guy played by John Leguizamo and a kid who never sees his day. I wonder why we can relate to this so well.
There's also, in Chef, there's no conflict the entire movie. The only bit of conflict that he has is that review thing, which is like...
And the drug stuff.
What's the drug stuff?
No, in Chef. And not
Chef.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in Chef, there's no... And then...
and the conflict with, like,
with
raising a child. Yeah.
But even the son thing comes to a head for, like, one scene, and then that's it. Like, there's no... The son doesn't get really any kind of, like,
yeah, but
solution.
that's supposed to be that film.
That's supposed to be that film, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
With this, the same... But when you're dealing in things like this, where it's like... Yeah, the drug thing is conflict, but you almost don't believe it. You're watching it going, yeah, this is a side thing.
There's not enough, like, depth in the storylines and all of them to really...
Right.
Like, you don't go in far enough in this film with any of them to, like, make you really worry about how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. So you're saying that's a defense. You're like, oh, these movies just don't do that.
Yeah. Well, like, and that's like, it's supposed to be fairly enjoyable. Right. It's not supposed to be some fucking Merchant Ivory thing where people pine for 2 hours and then a woman gets cholera. It's not like...
But it does seem like, from the trailer, I was like, it seemed fun, light, like this, but now the way you're describing it, it seems darker.
I think it's like almost like... It's very
dark
similar.
light.
It's yeah.
I would say...
They're like, oh, we want
Limitless.
this to be edgy.
If it's 1 to 10...
I loved Limitless, man.
Here's the thing.
Limitless was cool though because it had the concept of the drug. That was really cool to me. This is
has
just like
drugs
a chef.
in it. But here's the thing. Limitless. This thinks it's better than Limitless, but it's not. Does that make sense? Like this.
It's already farty.
It's already. It's supposed to be
gotcha.
artier than it is.
There's
but
a nice little indie like
as Limitless.
soundtrack. Like there's a lot of like acoustic guitars coming in over fish markets and shit.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I love it. I want that moment. Are you kidding? I want to like.
You talked about watching this kind of stuff on the road. Like if I'm on the road, it's HGTV all
I can't
day,
handle that
baby.
shit. I hate it.
Oh,
Well, that's Home and Garden. You mean like the food channel?
Then no, the food channel.
You like
is
that shit?
I love HGTV.
I fucking loathe it.
House Hunters, Room with a View.
So I just think
House with a View.
I can't. It's one of those things where it's like.
But did you like the movie, Sean?
Here's the thing.
Sounds like you didn't.
I don't
hate
think it's
it.
a good movie, but I was telling Shane.
Thank you.
But if it was on TV, I would watch it again.
Again?
Yeah.
But there's a couple
I think
of
it's because Bradley
things.
Cooper is so hot.
I do
That
like
plays
Bradley
big
Cooper
part.
a lot. That's
He's a leading man I like who's not shoved down my throat too much. And he's
'cause
actually kind of
always-
funny.
He usually portrays someone with these weaknesses, like it sounds like in this role too.
Yeah.
Well, 100%.
I like that. One, they don't touch on, like I'm saying, they don't touch on stuff enough to make it deep enough. But like when I worked in restaurants and like bartended, people were always on drugs, and somebody was always sleeping with somebody.
Chefs are known to be alcoholics,
and they're like. And they're violent places, and language is and people are horrible to one. That stuff they talk about, but they don't show that much.
They don't show it
that much.
There you go.
They show it in these explosive moments.
There's a way to knock it. They show it with him exploding. But like, here's the thing. Like you're saying, in reality, there would be more than just him being the volatile character in the. They show
right.
one
It
little.
sounds like
one
they could
little,
have done a movie like this with way more like. The real,
There's more build.
You could make it grittier than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's what I'm saying. This is like the most Hollywood attempt.
But that's the reason some of these movies are okay, because like that's the reason this movie is okay in my mind is because it's like, I don't need all of that all the time. Like sometimes a soft version of an interesting topic is okay. Like I'll watch
that.
like I'll watch a great boxing movie and know I won't watch it as much as another boxing movie that's not as good, just because it's kind of a little easier to watch like something you don't have to be invested in.
Yeah,
Right.
like it could have. This could have been a movie where it's like, yeah, he had a real drug addiction. It was a real hardcore story. It was unbelievable acting. It could have been like along those lines. And there's things that happen. You're right. Like there's things that happen that were like these movies. This had the vibe to it of a movie that started out that way, and then the script was rewritten. They got Bradley Cooper attached, and then it became
Yeah,
this.
because it's kind of making me in the mood to see a gritty movie with the world you're describing, like the real restaurant.
Yeah, did you guys work in restaurants?
No,
I didn't.
No. I mean, I did it like right after I graduated high school for years and years.
Yeah.
And at first it was the funnest thing because you get money every day. Like you get cash, you get tipped out or tips, and you're bartending, and you don't go home till 4 a.m. and you flirt with people all the time. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff. So like I remember that part of it for a while being a pretty fun time in my life.
Now, do you think that helps your decision that you like
for
this
sure.
movie a lot?
Yeah.
To remind you of that time of your life?
Yeah, that was pretty fun for a while. And then I became like the worst person to ever wait on anyone.
Well, that's the thing. I know friends of mine that worked in kitchens, and it's like a couple of my buddies are still chefs, and yeah, it's a hard, like that's what people should be seeing more than this.
Yeah, and
you're seeing a really watered down version of it. Probably
for
is.
sure. But it's also like there's a theme in it that I enjoy is like that he is trying to be great, which is like we're all comics here. We're all trying to like. They don't do a good job
That's a good
of
defense
showing,
of it.
but it is a feeling I identify with. It's like, like I, like you, I want to be the best comedian in the world. Like, like he wants that. It's not shown well, but it is a theme I identify.
To be honest, I had the same thought as I was watching it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was equating it to comedy in my head while I was watching it.
Yeah, and that you want to be better, you want
to be better.
and you want more, and you want your peers' approval, and everybody, and you have to have some fuck you on you to do that kind of stuff.
You do. And actually, it kind of fits into what we were talking about.
It does. It reminds me of.
That's why Harvey Weinstein probably loved this movie so much. It reminded himself. He's like such an alpha.
But it's industry
also
or a dream, like when you have a dream to be great.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The end of this.
The thing is, he is already great in this film. He's a drug addict, but he is like a revered chef already.
Yeah.
Yes.
But one of the lessons at the end is that it's not a bad thing to get a little bit of help from your friends.
Yes.
Like that's kind of, so you have this thing where I was watching him like, oh, he's badass. He wants to be the best. He wants to just this third star. It's like almost impossible to get. He's really amazing already, but he's striving for perfection. And you're like, that's awesome to have that goal. But then at the end, the whole lesson is like, well, it's not an end all be all, and these are my friends.
Which is also a truth to that, too.
Totally, 100%. So I like the idea of that, where it's like you can equate it to other things, and like that lesson of it, you can equate to other things in your life. But I'm just saying, like, whenever I see movies like this, and not every movie has to be, Requiem for a Dream or like some hardcore,
Thank God Almighty,
some hardcore like indie,
Seen it.
Black Swan or like
Seen it.
just Darren Aronofsky films.
That's
For some reason, these are the only movies I've seen.
But he makes hardcore, like his movies are like.
It sounds like it's
God,
a perfect hotel
or
movie,
like-
like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like it's fun. It'll keep you engaged.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But I'm like, it's technically not good.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
I'm not
that's
saying it's a
Rotten
good movie.
Tomatoes.
But I do genuinely enjoy the film.
I think
it's shot well. Like,
it's shot well.
It's not like, oh, I'd have to see I wonder how they did that kind of stuff. But it's like,
Everybody's talking about
whoever
the
scouted out the
cinematography and
locations
burnt.
for this did a pretty good job. It looks pretty.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Yeah. Even when he's in the fish market and he's in
the kitchens look beautiful.
And they do a good job. Yeah, they do a good job of framing everything and everything.
Yeah.
I think that's what helps it as well. But yeah, so I just think that when I watch
also the maitre d's in love with him.
The guy who owns the restaurant is in love with Bradley Cooper.
Oh, that's fun.
They don't,
Yeah.
but they almost just throw it in there like now he's gay. Like, they did do that.
That sounds stupid as fuck.
I'm going to call bullshit on that too. But yeah, you're right, because it's like, wait, and
This is not. It's like it is. Pardon the pun. It's a little bit of garnish that you don't need on the plate. But
it's also like, it's like, remind me why you need that again. It's also a thing where it's like, it almost...
it is
They're
unnecessary.
like, we haven't done anything gay.
Well, the
No,
only way you can...
they don't. But here's the thing. Why not leave it up? That's one thing you could have left up in the air. And you could have been like, is he into him or
It's
not?
just
Like,
a weird thing of answering questions you don't need answered, but not answering some questions you do need answered.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, like, there is a thought of, like, well, this guy fucked him over, so what? You know,
Does he
Bradley
end up
Cooper
with a
fucks him
girl?
up.
no.
No, but there's, like, a love of, like, they end up, would you say they end up
Canoodling?
No, they end up like making
being
out.
friends? They make out, but, like, yeah, it's like one of these things of, like, this is a thing, but this is a better thing.
Yeah.
You're like, there's
Oh.
clearly an attraction.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
but-
then they end up just them all eating together at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
So,
like, the only thing I could justify, like, them throwing in the fact that guy's gay, is in love with him, is like, why would you give him another shot at a restaurant?
I think that's why they did it.
Yeah.
But it's also like,
But that's, like, just the easiest, that's, like, just the easiest way for them
it
to
would have been
fix
more
it.
interesting for me if they were like, if it's always more interesting if they just sat there, you sat there and you're like, oh, like if they, think of it how much better it would have been on that plot point because there's moments where like early on, there was a great moment where he goes in and folds his clothes for him. And I'm like, that actually, if they would have left it there and then like had the moment where he comes in, he sees him in the shower and he makes a look, you'd be like, oh, he's into it, but never referenced it. You'd be like, oh, that's it. Like if you did it in your head, that would have made it more interesting of a thing for me. Like there's this weird thing where he's like, he goes in while he's not there in the hotel room because he has the key to all the hotel rooms.
Yeah, 'cause he owns the hotel, yeah.
And he goes in and he sees his book out there and he's like, what is he doing? And then like, it's
He's looking
almost,
at all the numbers from the oysters.
yeah.
he
And then
shot.
he takes his shirt and he folds his shirt and puts it on his bed.
But he also smells it.
Smells it too.
Yeah.
So it's like that you're supposed to get, like at first I didn't get it right away.
That would be a nice hint.
That would be a nice hint.
Yeah.
And then if you just left it there and not like had
Or throw a few
the
more,
therapist say,
or throw a few more
Tony's
of the-
in love with you.
Or or throw a few more moments and like he cuts his hand and then the maitre d' like cleans his cut or something. Something
right.
of that nature.
Something in nature where it's like, oh, that's done with a little bit more delicacy than he probably
like breadcrumbs.
delicateness
yeah.
than he would have little breadcrumbs instead of just being Emma Thompson being like, you know he's in love with you, right?
like,
It's
yeah,
like that's too over your fucking head. That's what I mean. Like that's what it did. Like it could have been a much more understated.
Yeah, they're using a cannon to kill a mosquito with that.
Right, exactly. So
That's Confucius. That's not me.
but yeah, dude. So
Suck my
that's
dick.
my point. Like that's what'd you say? Suck my dick. Please don't. Please don't Harvey Weinstein this podcast.
Farrah's masturbating on a juniper bush right now.
Here's the thing.
That's why I love podcasting.
Yeah. So what happens is, if you beat somebody over the head with that's like easy filmmaking to me. Like if you leave those little things in there, if you leave the whole idea of like, let me have the audience. This has no bearing on. It doesn't have to have any bearing on the story. But if you go, oh, he likes him. That's why he's doing it. That's way more like, wow, I like how they did that more than like, you know, he's in love with you. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And like, and then at one point he's like, do you want to get breakfast or something?
He's like,
It's
you
like,
want me to breakfast? And he's like, no, but thank you for the thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, you want to get breakfast instead of you falling in love with me? Like, it's like it's too much like,
Yeah,
hey, how many
but
times
with
can I
all
mention
that
the
going
phrase,
on, with
me
all that
falling
going
in love with you?
With all of that going on,
Yeah.
you would still watch it again.
I would watch it.
Yeah.
That's kind of
That is the appeal of this film.
I am surprised.
that could be your main defense. I admitted I would watch it again.
Yeah, well, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Give me, if you can, because you kind of touched on a couple things already. Give me 3 reasons why you're defending this, but why somebody should watch this movie.
Well, I
Or
do like the
defend-
way it looks, right?
The way it looks, the way it's shot is okay. Okay.
The cast.
Well, let's say this because somebody's done the looks.
The
Would you the reason you
cinematography.
say seeing what the food looks like that, like
With the food, they
on
show the
film,
scene. They make it seem like a very romantic, and not in the way when I'm using the word romantic, I mean it's beautiful where they are. They're
Sure.
showing it looks like everywhere they go in the film, you would look around in it, and like if you were in that place, you'd be like, "Fuck, this is pretty cool."
Yeah.
you know, like
Okay.
it looks that way.
Okay.
It's fun to watch in that regard. Like
Sure.
the
like
kitchen.
great location scouting.
Yeah. So there's that. Which I was like, I want to do nice things with my life someday. Like, yeah,
I've done that
Be
so
fun
many
to go to-
times where you're watching a movie or TV show, you're like, I want to go to wherever they are right now.
yeah.
I don't know what this is.
That's how I
to-
felt
the
watching
cast-
the Da Vinci Code.
You see?
The cast, while and not their best work, it is casted well. They are good actors. Emma Thompson, Sienna Miller, Bradley Cooper.
They're good actors.
The guy who plays the Maitre d', I can't remember his name, but he was great in that movie Rush. He was in which was a Ron Howard movie. Uma
the
Thurman.
racing movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Yeah.
And so so there are good actors in it
Yeah.
who do a lot with very little in the film.
Right. Okay. I can see that. Yeah. I think okay. That's valid.
And the strife he feels to do well is something I identify with a lot as a person, wanting to do more than you've done.
Yeah.
Which is a thing, which just resonates with me. I don't know how to say it other than that. I get wanting to do better than you've done.
Right.
Yeah. And that's he's clearly an accomplished person who's also a drug addict junkie in recovery. Right.
Yeah.
But he also is that's not good. And I still did well.
Yeah.
How do I do more? How do I be not be great, but one of the greats?
I'll give you this much.
There's a difference in
it's
that.
It's kind of interesting that he was a flawed success story.
I'm not calling myself great, by the way. I'm just saying.
No, I know. You are great.
But
it's kind of interesting. It wasn't just he was down and out. It was I was at the top of the world, but also rock bottom at the same time.
Yeah,
yeah, I guess that happens other times in movies as well. But the guy in Limitless, his character in Limitless is just kind of an unemployed writer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's
well, that's what I love about Limitless.
He's a man of potential with actually doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's cool because it's the concept that,
but also
it's the pill that gives him these powers. It's fun.
I know I love movies like that too.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love that because it's like bubblegum type.
Yeah,
and this kind of has that vibe. It's you could have made this more hardcore, but they didn't. So it's more fun to watch because it's not real life, and a movie that you see and you're like, oh, this person really died. This happened.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, oh,
yeah.
It doesn't. Heavy.
It doesn't bum you out, but you're invested enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So, moment of truth, Farrah. Will you see Burnt?
Well, it's an interesting defense. A lot of these reasons are reasons circulating outside of the actual movie. Oh, it made me want to go to places. The cast was good in other things.
I don't think the Weinstein thing should weigh into your...
I won't weigh the Weinstein factor. I won't weigh the Weinstein factor. I'll say it has made me want to see Limitless again very much. I want to rewatch that, and it feels like I'd basically be watching this, but just a little better.
No, this is this is technically a better movie than Limitless. If I had to pick one and say which is a better movie, this is a better movie. There's more. Yeah, because it's based in fucking reality.
Yeah. Oh, who wants based in reality? I'm going to say it's hard. This one I'm 50-50 on. I hear the defense.
I mean, I think
right?
if it's 50-50, you have to see it.
If I was in a hotel, would watch. But then again, probably not if House Hunters was on. So, if I was home, no way.
So if you're home, no way.
No.
So I would say the answer is...
No.
Whoa, I'm shocked.
But I don't know it's Bradley Cooper.
You fucking definitely weighed the Weinstein thing. You're such a liar.
I can't imagine that she wouldn't.
I don't know, but then Bradley Cooper's a heavyweight.
And I get it. You're a proud feminist, and I get it.
Well,
and I appreciate that, but...
The emails are going to pour in this week.
Here's a first, though. I'll tell you, Farrah wouldn't watch it. But like I said, I would watch it again. So it's
That's the interesting effect I have on the world.
Yeah. Podcast verse.
Shane, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Did you have fun, buddy?
I did. I had a blast.
What would you like to promote, my friend?
When does this come out?
Friday.
I'll be at 10,000 Laughs Comedy Festival Minneapolis next week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the week after that, I'll be at the Fest in Gainesville doing comedy as well, and Rooster T. Feathers after that. So, ShaneIsAComedian.com.
Cool.
Album
and
established.
What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is Shane Torres.
Awesome.
And yeah, I think that's fine. ShaneIsAComedian.com. All the shit's on there.
Perfecto. Farrah?
Well... If you're listening to this and it's still Friday the day it came out, come see me and Melissa Stokowski do our half hours at Halyards tomorrow, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn.
Oh,
it's going to be so fun. Also, next week, Wednesday,
what man is going to be on the show?
A gay
Harvey
man,
Weinstein.
George,
the plot
will be hosting.
The plant that he comes in.
We will have plants.
The plant is hosting.
Wednesday.
That's a great room.
It's so fun. It's such a great bar. They have awesome grilled cheese and pizza. and we're going to be doing long sets. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. And I am at Shawnee Time on Twitter, and the podcast itself has a Twitter. It's at Defend Your Movie. We have a Facebook, facebook.com/Defend Your Movie. And big, make sure you sign up for the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Defend Your Movie, right? Sign up for the Patreon. We'll have extra content for you guys. We're taping a bonus episode today. Check it out. Tell your friends to listen to the podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. That helps the show big time. Thank you so much, guys, for doing this. And we'll see you. I'll see you soon, Shane. And I'll see you soon.
See you in the kitchen.
See you in the kitchen.
Burnt.
My friend, there's a time you must